I was watching a podcast episode by Jason Kalanis of This Week of Startups, and he was talking about how Andreeson Horowitz's genius was to start creating their own content for their investments. If you're at all interested in tech or venture capital, you've definitely heard of Andreeson Horowitz. For people who are my generation and younger, I think Andreeson Horowitz is probably the biggest name venture capital firm by far. And that's because they, according to Jason Kalanis, were basically masters of creating content around their investments. So Ben Horowitz and Mark Andreessen, who founded Andreeson Horowitz in the early 2000s, did so because they wanted to create the most founder-centric venture capital firm. And, there's a lot of debate over which is the best venture capital firm in terms of helping their entrepreneurs. But what they did, which I think was really smart, and Jason Kalanis talks about in his podcast episode, was they would create a lot of content around their investments. Firstly, they used their connections with journalists to publish content about their investments. This would attract the top tier talent. This would attract potential collaborators at other companies who think that, a partnership would be advantageous for both people. And it also created a lot of hype amongst other VC firms to invest in Andreessen-backed investments. Probably the most notable thing that Andreessen Horowitz has done recently is they've started creating their own content. Ben Horowitz purchased BuzzFeed, which of course is distinct from Andreessen Horowitz, but it shows that interest in content continuing. And then also they're investing heavily in Future, a content platform for tech investments, basically. And also, most importantly, remember that all of their partners or former partners are pretty famous on Twitter, and Twitter is basically where tech is centered. So they're doing very good on that. And probably the most important thing that Andreessen Horowitz has done in regards to content has been ClubHouse. If you remember ClubHouse, it was probably one of the biggest hype apps of 2020. Everyone was using it. Everyone was talking about it. Like Elon Musk would go on and debate, Kim Jong-un on ClubHouse. And that was why everyone loved it. And ClubHouse basically made Andreessen Horowitz people celebrities, right? They were able to, people started to realize the names of not just Ben Horowitz, but Felicia Horowitz, the wife of Ben Horowitz. And they started to know about Nate Jones. They started to know about Frank Chen and Chris Dixon and all of these other guys who are Andreessen Horowitz people. And those Andreessen Horowitz people now have so much attention that this helps with their deal flow. And if you're, the biggest thing for a venture capitalist is to get deal flow, get new deals for the firm to consider investing in. That's basically, one of the biggest jobs where, that VCs do. And because of this, because of ClubHouse, because of that investment in content, Andreessen Horowitz has positioned itself to be so strong. It's going to be considered the best place to get invested in and for the near future. And I think the biggest takeaway from that is that means these tech founders in 2021, we had NFT week in New York City a couple weeks ago. These tech founders are basically treated like celebrities, right? They're considered famous. They're throwing these really cool parties. They're attracting a lot of attention from not just, tech people or even, other traditional investors, but also athletes, celebrities, actors. Everyone's getting involved with this stuff. And I think Andreessen Horowitz has probably positioned itself as the flagship venture capital firm for the next decade. And I think it's because of their earlier investment in content. This is, I think, something that's really optimistic for people like me or people like you if you're watching this, because it means that what you need to start doing is creating content, because content is becoming king. Content is what will differentiate the jobs you get. Content will differentiate where you end up living. Content will be able to show the world who you are and what you're interested in. And who you are and what you're interested in is probably what you should be doing for your living, right? Who you are and what your interests are the best foundations for what your work should be. And I think that this is to say that, this is a great time to be someone who's a non-traditional person, because all you need to do is pick up your phone and do exactly what I'm doing right now and start recording a video and create an audience of people who find that you're interested and want to hear your thoughts. And the more you build content in that space, the more you will be seen as someone who's worth listening to in this space. So my advice to you guys is be like Andreeson Horowitz. Create your own content and make that content about stuff you want to do. And eventually that'll be your portfolio, not your college degree. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys have been well, and I hope you're taking care of yourself given the fact that the weather's changing and everyone's getting sick. And take care. Yeah. Bye.